And welcome back to episode 114 of the Be Fable podcast. Again, as always, super excited to be sharing this space with you. What an honor. And I hope that life is fab on your side of the screen, my friends, on your side of the earbuds, however you're taking in this podcast. So, over the last couple of episodes, we've been talking about slow seasons, redefining success, wondering if it even was meant to be big or powerful or anything else, and about letting go of the idea that bigger or faster automatically means better. So today, in this episode, I thought we'd go a little bit deeper. We're going to continue to grow on these episodes because once we slow down and once we stop chasing someone else's blueprint or someone else's version of success or what others think we should be doing or living, the real question becomes this: what are you actually building? Is it fueling you or is it draining you? We spend a lot of time talking about mindset. I believe in it. It's a strategy. Mindset matters. But what we don't talk about enough is the energy that also can be a companion to that, like confidence. Two of the strongest tools in your toolbox is mindset and confidence, self-belief. Because you have to be and have the strongest mindset in the world. You don't have to. You don't have to have the biggest mindset or the best mindset or the be all end all mindset. But if what you're building drains you and you don't find that fuel and that spark is gone, it will eventually show up in your motivation. It'll show up in your health and it'll show up in your clarity. Because you can have the best mindset. You don't have to have the strongest one or the biggest one, but the best mindset for yourself. But if you have the mindset that doesn't allow you to build from a place that fuels you, then your mindset becomes one that will drain you. And your mindset will constantly be shifting on you in the other direction. And that's not where we want to go. We don't want you to go to burnout. Burnout doesn't come from doing too much. Sometimes it comes from doing too much of what doesn't align with you or what doesn't agree with you or what isn't sharing your values anymore, what's not meeting you where you are. And that's why this episode, I hope, will really make an impact on you when it comes to fueling you versus draining you. So the shift I want to offer you in this episode is this. Instead of asking, what do I need to push through? I want you to shift that and say, what actually fuels me right now? Fuel can look like aligned work, something that aligns more with your values, that really is something that you stand behind proudly. Conversations that engage you instead of exhaust you. Projects that stretch you without depleting you. Hopefully this podcast episode isn't exhausting you. Hopefully you're finding energy in it, right? And then ways that you get drained can often look like saying yes to every single obligation. How many times have we talked about that here on the podcast, or if you've worked with me at all? Carrying things that no longer fit, that baggage. Oh my gosh, we have to leave this baggage behind, friends. It's not serving you anymore. You learn the lessons, you take from those lessons what you need, you leave the rest behind. You're better for it in good or bad ways. You're a better person because of it. But leave the baggage. Stop carrying what no longer fits. Staying busy just so you feel productive. Saying, oh my gosh, I did this, this, and this. You know how many times when you say to somebody, hey, how's it going? You say, oh, busy. Busy, busy, and busy. We're also blessed. And I know that's overused a lot. But man, I'm so busy. Well, what are you busy? Are you busy doing something? Does that make you feel productive? I think that's a lot. When you're self-employed or a creative employer, I think it's something, and you own your own business or you're a team leader, doing more makes you feel accomplished, makes you feel productive. But here's the key. You don't build clarity by fixing everything that drains you. You build clarity by intentionally strengthening what fuels you. And for me, this has been a hard lesson. This has not been an easy lesson for me. This has been a big lesson, especially in this season. Moving into a different role, not having the photography business anymore, putting my speaking and coaching a little bit on a back burner, slowly coming back into doing that. But that's what fuels me. It's sharing space with people and sharing ideas and watching everybody be enthusiastic about what they're creating or what they're doing. Just like it fuels me when we can sit down and brainstorm and I see the light bulb go off in your head and you go, oh my gosh, that's it. That's the one piece I was missing. Now I'm clear. What drains me is, you know, watching people do what somebody else thinks they should be doing. What drains me is watching a world where it's just sad, right? It's the world is just sad and we've lost that spark and that joy, and that's draining to me. So I want to do something and be around people that are a little bit inspiring. And again, we go back to the woo and the fluff, but you know, I want to be in a positive energy space. I want to be in a space of solution. I've always been solution driven. So while we have a ton of problems and we might not be able to fix them all, we all can make a difference doing something. We can all share that kindness. We can all be that person that lends a hand. We can be that one person that smiles and stops after you say, how's it going? You actually stop and wait for the answer. So those are lessons for me that have been big lessons in this season, in this new season that I'm in. And I've learned that I didn't need to eliminate every draining thing in my life all at once, but I did need to be honest about what to give my energy to and what quickly takes my energy away. And I want you to think about that too. Whether you're driving or walking the dog or however you're consuming this, maybe you're multitasking while you're doing this, right? While you're listening to me. But I do want you to be honest with yourself. What gives you the energy and what takes it away? Many times I hear, oh, answering the emails every single morning, answering the same questions over and over. So shift that. Send an email that's going to get you some money, or send an email that's going to be, oh my gosh, thank you for that great review. Do something positive. Do something that gives you the energy at the beginning of the day so that start your day off with that energy. And then quietly think about what is the quiet energy that drains you. What is it that takes that energy away? Because when you consistently build from what fuels you, you will show up more grounded. You'll make clearer decisions. You'll stop forcing momentum. And that is when growth becomes sustainable. This is also where building what fuels you will naturally connect to building what matters most, because what matters most should never come at the cost of your well-being. Here's something important for you to remember. Energy is not a luxury. It's a leadership tool. And in the world of weddings and events, and I think maybe in general, the word luxury is really used a lot now, but energy is not a luxury. It's a leadership tool. The way that you manage your energy determines how clearly you think, how confidently you lead, how long you can keep going. And remember, even as a solo entrepreneur, even as a one-person team, you are still a leader. You're leading yourself. So you have to be that leader for yourself. You have to be that leader that will be managing your energy. And when you build from fuel instead of depletion, growth won't feel like pressure. It will feel like progress that you can actually maintain. And that kind of growth, my friends, is what will last. So if you're thinking about this and this has resonated in some sort of way, I'm going to leave you with a few questions. Again, there's no homework on these episodes. There's no homework on this podcast. These are just things. Turn them into a journal prompt if you need to. Turn them into an affirmation. Put them on a sticky note. But there's really no other action for you to take except for to let it sink in. You don't need to overhaul yourself. But I do want you to be aware that some change might need to occur. And I want you to ask yourself, what's the one thing in your work or life that is generally fueling you right now? Where are you getting energy from in business and life? And, as the saying goes, you might have be in a really busy season in your career. So then your personal life has to suffer. And then your personal life gets busy, especially like around the holidays. And then your professional life suffers. It's not a balancing act. It's a harmony. Because for me, balancing means that you're waiting for something to fall. Harmony means the ebb and the flow. Your clients know that sometimes you have a personal life, and your family knows that sometimes you have a really busy career, and one needs more attention than the other. So is that fueling you? Being able to work in that harmony, is that fueling you? And what are you saying yes to out of habit instead of alignment? What do you automatically, when an email comes, yep, I'm attending. or somebody sends you a text and say there's an industry event, or there's a social hour here, or there's a morning coffee chat here, and you immediately just go yes. What are you doing out of habit instead of alignment? I want you to think, what are you saying yes to just because it became routine or habit, but may not be agreeing with where you are right now? And what would you shift if you gave yourself permission to build from energy instead of urgency? You don't have to change anything. You don't have to make big changes here, but I do want you to think about that. I want you to think about these questions. Sometimes clarity comes from strengthening the one thing that feeds your soul, that one thing that will put that spark back in. Motivation comes from good times and motivation comes from bad times. You can be motivated to do something out of fear, or it can be motivated to do something out of success and momentum. The same thing comes here. Clarity comes from strengthening something that feeds your soul. And if you give the clarity and you give the energy to what drains you, then you're going to be in that routine. And how you're going to get the same thing over and over and over. And we all know that, if you don't change something, it's going to continue to nag at you, right? If you don't make a change on something, good or bad, change is apparent. Change will happen. And change is not always a bad thing. This season's reminded me of something that I wanted to share with you. And I want to pass it on with you, that you're not meant to build your life or your business from depletion. You're not meant to pour from an empty cup. My gosh, how many quotes do we all know, about, half cup, what is it? The cup's half full, or you can't pour from an empty cup. And that you do have to take care of yourself, and you do have to give yourself and make yourself a priority. You have to be your number one client, right? You have to treat yourself like that. You're allowed to choose fuel. What feeds your soul? You're allowed to choose where to get that spark or reignite that spark, reconnect with that spark. You're allowed to choose alignment. What feels good to you? You're allowed to build something that supports you, and not just something that looks good from the outside, but feels your. Maybe you need to start doing yoga every morning. Maybe you've been wanting to do yoga. Maybe you want to do goat yoga. Maybe you want to take a pottery class. Something that fuels that creative soul. Maybe it's just you want to make sure you read a new book, or you want to take a walk with that audible in it when you're not listening to the podcast, of course, right? Something that will fuel you, something that is different than your career. Find that and do that, because on the outside, somebody might not understand it, and that's okay. It's fueling you from the inside. Because when you build what fuels you, you will naturally build what matters most. Thanks for being here. Thanks for sharing the space with me as always. And thank you for choosing growth that actually feels good to live inside. I can't wait to hear more about some of the changes you might be implementing, the ways that you're feeding your soul. Don't forget, you can always reach out with a voicemail. You can send me a text. There's ways to connect with me. Feel free to do that. You can also go to Substack and join us over there. You're always invited for there. You're always welcome here, but you're invited to join me in other places, right? Until next time, stay intentional, stay grounded, and keep building in a way that honors your energy, my friends.